Hello, this is Chapter 3, Lecture 2. We already talked about demand, the law of demand, and we talked about the change in the quantity demanded. And now we're going to talk about another change. This would be a change in demand itself, which is different than a change in quantity demanded. So one of the hardest things in all of microeconomics is for students to understand the difference between a change in demand and a change in quantity demanded. Demand and quantity demanded are not the same thing. Over here, for example, in this schedule here, this table, we have demand 1. Demand is all these numbers. It's the entire relationship between these various prices and these various quantity demandeds. The quantity demanded now is that number there. If the price is 20, if the price is 18, it'll be 5. So the quantity demanded, we can give you one number if we know what the price is. And then we can plot this data on the line over here. And so here we have our price up here again. Quantity over here. I go up by 2s, and so I start there at $10, and then 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20, and these are measured in dollars. And down here we have a quantity demanded. I didn't say what this is, so it could be whatever you want it to be. So at $10, we'll start at the top here. At $20, the willingness to pay, the willingness to pay is not there. No one's willing to pay $20 to buy anything. To get someone to buy 5 at least, or people, or 5 consumers maybe to buy 5, the price has to fall to $18, and so we have 5 there, and that'll be about there. And then this is 10, and then the price falls to 16. We'll get consumers to buy 10, right about there. And the price falls to 14, then consumers will buy 15. And that'll be about there. And if the price falls to $12, then consumers will buy 20. Make that 20. Price falls to $10, and consumers will buy 25. Connect those points. This would be your first demand, demand D1. And I'll label that D1. If my pencil would work. Demand D1. Straighten this out. So this demand here is a picture of the data over here. And it simply gives an idea in a picture form of what's actually going on over here. Now, at any price, we would know the quantity demanded. So the price is $10. You go out this way until we hit demand, drop a line straight down, and that'll be the quantity demanded. So if we had no table here, we still can find the quantity demanded using the demand line. If the price is $12, you'd go out to hit demand line, drop a line straight down. That's now the quantity demanded. And so the quantity demanded down here depends on where that price is going to be. Now, a change in demand is when now we have different data here now, whole different data. And we can have an increased demand, which is the first example, and that means at every price the quantity demanded is greater. That's going to cause the demand curve to shift outward to the right. People are buying more not because the price changed, but because something else changed, which we'll get to later on in just a minute, which affects consumption. So here, people, consumers are buying more at the same price. Same price. People are buying more at the same price. So let's say, for argument's sake, that on the test, I give you this demand table here, and then I say fill in new numbers here where the quantity demanded is going to be, say, 5 more than it is over here. So that means that at $20 before, people were buying none. 5 more would make that a 5. Then at $18, people were buying 5 last month, say. Now they'd be buying 5 more. That's now 10. Last month they're buying 10 at 16. Now they're going to be buying 15. Last month at 14, they're buying 15. Now they'll buy 20. Last month at $12, they would buy 20. Now they're buying 25. And last month at $10, all things being equal, they would buy 25. Now at $10, they're going to be buying 30. Doesn't have to increase. The quantity demanded does not have to increase the same amount each time. I just did that because it makes a nice parallel shift. That could have been 6, that could have been 10, that could have been 19, and so on. The only thing that matters is that at every price, the quantity demanded is greater. If you do that, that's all you need to have an increase in demand. What's happened is that something has caused people to want to buy more at each price. What could cause that? Maybe more income. Maybe people got a pay raise, and therefore they're going out and they're buying more of many things at the same price of those things. So there's two ways to buy more. One is the law of demand. If the price goes down, people will buy more, or if the demand would increase. So let's plot the new data. So now at $20, used to be at 0, now it's going to be at 5, and that'll be about there. And then at $18 is now going to be 10, and so about there. At $16 is now going to be 15, about there. $14 is now going to be 20. At $12 is now going to be 25. And now I need a new number here, make that 30. And let me move my demand D1 out of the way. Did plan well enough. And then we have 30 right there. Connect those points. Make this a blue line. And this will be demand D2. What economists do to show which way demand is shifting, to make it clear, we tend to use arrows like that. And that tells the reader very clearly that we're telling you that we're drawing a demand that's increasing. It's moving out to the right. So whenever demand moves out to the right, that's always an increase in demand, which means people are buying more at the same price. So for example, if the price were $18, they were buying 5. Now at the new demand, they're going to be there, they're going to be buying 10. The other change would be a decreased demand. Definition of decreased demand is when at every price the quantity demanded is less. The demand curve now shifts inward to the left. People buy less not because the price changed, but because something else changed which affects consumption. Here, people, consumers, are buying less at the same price. People are buying less at the same price. So here I already plotted in the data from demand D1. This now plotting the data from demand D2. So here demand is going to decrease. So let's say now at every price, the quantity demanded is, say, 5 less. 5 less of whatever this stuff is. It could be shoes, it could be scarves, it could be hats. So now at $20, it's still going to be 0 because it was 0 before. Now at $18, it's also going to be 0. 16 used to buy 10, now it's going to be 5. 14 used to buy 15, now it's going to be 10. If the price were $12, you used to buy 20, say last month, now we're going to buy 15. And at $10, used to buy 25, now we're going to buy 20. So plot those points. At $18, it's now 0. At 16, it's now 5, right there. At 14, it's now 10. At 12, it's now 15. And at 10, it's now 20. Get out my blue pencil again. Draw these points in. And what we have there is a decreased demand. Again, economists use arrows moving inward. and that shows very clearly that demand is moved inward to the left, and that's always a decrease in demand. That means that people are buying less again people are buying less at the same price. So every price, people are buying less. What would cause the demand curve to change, increase, or decrease? A lot of things would. Anything that would cause consumers to buy more or less of an item when the price of the item stays the same causes a change in demand. These factors are called determinants of demand, sometimes called demand shifters, because these are the things that determine where demand is going to be, where it's going to shift. And we'll stop there.